Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm trying to reconcile some things that I've heard today and that Hamas leadership has said. Wait a minute. Before I get to that, we just struck IRGC affiliates again in Syria today, apparently within a couple of hours. Why does the Biden administration refuse to put Iran surrogates on any AUMF? How can you continue to do that? Because I've heard you use the word de-escalate here. This region, after service in the military in Egypt, Israel, Afghanistan, and Qatar, this region understands one thing: it's power. If we're going to deter, we must have the power, in hitting empty or even storage sites that may not be empty do not seem to me to be deterrence. Why does the administration refuse to put Iranian surrogates on any AUMF? How can you justify that given the way this is moving?
Thank you for your question. I can confirm that about an hour ago, the U.S. conducted self-defense strikes in response to recent attacks against U.S. forces in eastern Syria. We look forward to providing further details to you soon. To be very clear, Iran is the origin and has the fingerprints of the arming, training, equipping, and directing of these militia groups. Putting Iran-aligned militia groups is declaring war on Iran. Our objective in the region is to prevent war, to prevent escalation.
Wait a minute. Did you just say that putting them on an AUMF is declaring war on Iran?
It is requesting the authorization to use military force against Iran-aligned militia groups. The president has directed self-defense strikes under his Article 2 authority. Our approach to deterring Iran is both the significant increases in U.S. defense posture combined with the demonstrated willingness to use force in self-defense, as well as robust diplomacy and other tools to compel the senior leadership of Iran to direct its proxies to stop attacking U.S. forces.
Let me do a comparison. Under the last administration, one contractor was killed. In turn, we deterred successfully Iran by killing, I believe, the number 3 man in the Iranian hierarchy. Is that correct? Number 3, Soleimani? About that?
It is a fact that in the previous administration, there was a strike on Soleimani.
Correct. And so under this administration, we've had, what, 40 attacks in the recent weeks, 40 attacks maybe in that order, of that order. And so we've hit ammunition dumps, weapons storage sites twice now, correct?
President Biden directed self-defense strikes against facilities in eastern Syria affiliated with and known to be used by the IRGC.
Right. Okay, I want to go to my main line of questioning. We've got a minute and a half. Do you know where Ismail Haniyeh is in Qatar? Do you know where he lives? Does Qatar know?
Yes, yes, of course, they speak with him.
And why does Qatar allow him movement to Iran and back in the last few days? And also, why did they allow Iranian hierarchy to come visit him in Qatar? Why is that?
I can't, excuse me, I can't speak to the discussions that the Qataris have had with the Iranians, other than I think they are attempting to use every channel they can to get at the issue of the hostages, including via Iran.
Well, Secretary Blinken said there can be no more business as usual with Hamas. We are allowing Qatar to use him and the infrastructure, and they're not having much success, and frankly, I don't think they're going to. So if we're going to have a new reality, and then I understand releasing the hostages, but when I hear Hamas leadership say, we will do October 7 again and again, when we hear them say, I believe it was today or yesterday, they are seeking permanent war because they've said one of the reasons they kicked this off is because the Palestinian issue had disappeared. Now, I would like to ask you a question about Palestinians, because we're talking in this committee about Palestinians like they're only in Gaza and the West Bank. They're not. I think they're now on their 4th generation in the Jordanian refugee camps. Is that correct? Probably the 4th generation. So just talk to us about why are we equating Palestinians to Gaza and the West Bank? No nation in the Middle East wants the Palestinians, hence the refugee camps.
Well, I guess the way I would characterize the general perspective of all the governments in the Middle East, to my knowledge, they all support the creation of a Palestinian state and for the Palestinians to govern themselves in that state.
Well, no state is willing to give them land for it. So here's another question for you. How many nations have actually repudiated the 3 no's? What, about 5?
No, I'd have to think about that, but no, more than 5.
More than 5. Okay.
Yes, because I mean you've got Morocco, UAE, Bahrain, Jordan, Egypt.
That's about
5.
UAE.
And then de facto, you have several other countries that work very closely with Israel openly on different matters.
Yeah.
Gentleman's time
My
has
time
expired.
has expired.
Chair now recognizes